Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of our photography review show. I hope you all had a great week and I hope you're ready for more photography fun. Now, my name is Jakub. I'm a founder of Clever Photographer and also professional photographer based in West Sussex, England. This show is my way of staying in touch with our photography community by helping you to move your photography skills forward. Now, what I do, I look at your photos and try to give you feedback on three parts of each of the photo. I look at the technical part. This is where we look at things like camera settings, ISO, sharpness, noise, exposure, all the things that are really working as the building stone for the image. After that, I look at the artistic part. This is where I like to look at the framing, composition, the overall message, storytelling, and really look at the part that, tells the story of your image. And finally, if we have extra time, and if I think that it's beneficial, I try to give you tips on photo editing. Now for the photo editing part, we use application called Luminar Neo. As you probably know, us here at Clever Photographer, we are big fans of this application. However, don't worry if you don't own this application, you can actually look at the editing and most of the techniques can be used in any current photo editing application. So this is what we're gonna do. Now, if you wanna join us in one of the future episodes with your own photos, the easiest way to do this is to simply visit our website, cleverphotographer.com/forward membership. And there you will find out that we have a membership called Clever Photographer Plus. And with that, for a little fee, every month you will get access to this photography review show. You will also get access to our Clever Photographer Academy Facebook group. And most importantly, every month you will receive a digital photography tool bundle focusing on specific photography style. So, for example, this month we were focusing on dramatic photography. So this bundle, focusing on the dramatic photography, includes over 300 elements, and the elements are presets for Lightroom, Photoshop and Luminar Neo, LUTs, overlays, backgrounds, frames, textures, also custom brushes for Lightroom, and so much more. So, one more time, if you're interested in it, if you would like to find out more about it, head to our website, cleverphotographer.com/forward membership. Now, this is all out of the way, so let's move into Luminar Neo and start with the reviews. Okay, so as I mentioned, we are already in Luminar Neo, and most of our time during the photography review show, we're gonna spend in catalog module. This is where you can look at the images, you can also organize them here, and on the top of it, when I select the image, we can see some additional details about how it was captured. Now, the first set of images are from Elizabeth, so let's start right away and look at her photos. So, first one, right here, when we make it nice and big, let's have a look at it. Mountain sheep, rattlesnake, and all canyons in Antelope Canyon. So, this is in Arizona. It's a beautiful capture, and as I say, let's go straight away into the camera details and start from there. So Canon RP, 15 to 30 millimeters on the lens. From the camera settings, 30 millimeters on the lens, so as much zoom as the lens allowed. And from the camera settings, ISO 800, f11 and 1/50th of a second. So ISO 800, a little bit higher, but then again, probably handheld in a kind of low light situation, no problem there. F11, again, a little bit higher. I would go probably for f7.1, maybe f9, which then with 1/50th of a second would allow us to just bring the ISO down a little bit. However, looking at it with the first point of view, I think the sharpness looks quite good. The noise is not very visible, although the darker areas are kind of dark, so it probably hides part of the noise there. But in overall, I quite like what I see. Now, for the sharpness, it's quite good to zoom to at least 100% there and just kind of look around. And actually, the texture, the sharpness looks all good there. Now, the light is really nice. It's very lovely with the exposure and the glow coming from the top. As I say, I quite like this dark around. That works quite well. Noise is very manageable. So all in all, in overall, I think technically very well captured. Now, talking about the artistic part, again, talking about framing and composition and the storytelling, I think this works really well. Now, if you've been looking or watching my show for some time, you know that I'm a big fan of frame-in-frame composition, which this is a great example of it. Obviously, using the darker rock as kind of frame around, really add more attention to the main picture. The flow of the image with the corridor coming through works super well as well. The little bit of the glow add really nice light and make the depth a little bit more defined. I also quite like that the sand at the bottom isn't too disturbed, so kind of everything look nice, settled, and it's just very well balanced together. So as a composition goes, very well done. And for the photo editing, I have to say, Elizabeth, it's beautifully done. I love the color, the white balance. It looks very natural. All the oranges and everything looks nice. The overall glow is nice. The dark area around looks good. And I quite like the fact that you can see a little bit of the details there, that it's not completely dark frame, which I think just makes it a little bit more natural and not distracting at all. So all in all, it looks great. Well done, and well done for capturing it. Moving to the second image, now we're going to be looking at what do we have. Boat trip to Rainbow Bridge National Monument on Lake Powell in Arizona. So obviously captured from the boat, I assume, with this rock here. Now, first kind of look at it. Obviously the sky is a little bit of a shame. You would love to have some texture in it, but there are some things that work very well. The reflection in the water, the way it's captured, the depth, the texture, all of that is also very, very nice. So let's have a look at it again, starting with the camera, also the Canon RP, this time 28 to 300 millimeters, on your lens 28 millimeters, and on the camera dialed ISO 400, f13, and 1/500 of a second. So yeah, ISO 400, no problem there. There shouldn't be any issue with noise if you have applied a little bit of noise reduction there, so that's all good. F13, yeah, again, a little bit higher. I think for this composition and the 28 millimeters, you don't really need the f13. You would see that f7.1 would give you the same amount of sharpness, and you would again be able to lower the ISO by doing that. But anyway, all in all, it works all good. The sharpness is good, no noise. The light is a little bit bright, obviously, for this time of the day, but everything is good. Now, talking about the artistic part. Well, I love the reflection. I think that works super well. I think the sky is, again, a little bit of a shame there's not some clouds in it, but, you know, I know that sometimes there is nothing you can do about it. In overall, the depth, the way it's framed works very well. Only thing, so I'm a big fan of reflection, but I think really to get the most out of the reflection, what you can do is actually position the line of the reflection. So that's just somewhere around here, just in the middle of the image. And by doing that, you're not only getting a reflection, but you're also getting symmetry. And I think it can create a really powerful result. And that's exactly what we're getting here. It looks very nice. And I think with a little bit of cropping, it looks great. So that's about it. Well done. The editing is also really nice, very natural, you know, lovely colors, very nice soft edit, nothing over processed. It's just very, very good result. So Elizabeth, 2 beautiful photos. This is great, as well as this. Congratulations on your images. And as always, if you have more of them, make sure you send them to us for the next episode. Now, the next set of images are from Weasley, and the nice thing with his submission is that he gives us raw files as well as the edited images. So this way we can see a little bit further how the editing process goes. Anyway, we have 3 images here, again, both in edited and not edited versions. So let's jump straight to it. Starting with this kind of landscape or forest capture, this is the raw version and this is the edited version. So with the raw version, let's have a look at the camera details here. So Nikon Z7 with the 24 to 120 millimeters. And from the camera settings, ISO 800, 38 millimeters, f9 and 1/80th of a second. So little bit higher ISO, yes, on probably what was a low light situation there, with good f-stop, f9, yeah, giving you the sharpness. You can see that there's pretty much details all the way through, and with 1/80th of a second, giving you this kind of soft, kind of spooky light. Now, let's zoom in and have a look at the sharpness and overall. Actually, I think it's quite decent. Again, you can see with the details starting from here, going all the way at the back, that all works. There is a tiny bit of noise. That's just what happens with like a higher ISO, but in overall, I think it looks quite good. And yeah, I'm quite happy with it. Again, the light is very interesting. So let's move to the edited version and see what you've done there. Now, let's just kind of go between. So you've done a little bit of cropping. I wondered, let's just come back here. It almost looks like this is even more haze, like maybe you have added some fog, made it a little more hazy, which is fine for me as well. But I have to say that on the non-edited picture, the fact that this was kind of overexposed and bright actually made it just a little bit less... When I look here, I can see the details and it take the attention away, where when it was kind of bright from here, I could basically leave it that way as a source of light, and this is probably how I would leave it. I wouldn't necessarily apply this dehaze and try to get the details back there. I would keep it as my light source, keep it overexposed, and basically just look at the glow coming into the forest. In overall, it looks just a little bit dark for me. I mean, if we just jump into the editing module and just maybe open a little bit more of the shadows and add a little bit exposure, it just brightens up the thing, and I think it makes it a little bit more lively. And by doing it also, we will again get back a little bit of the contrast of the different textures and different light. Now, just to kind of show you, if I have the overlay here, what I would probably do, coming back to the idea of that area being overexposed. So I would use it as a light source. If you would want to be creative that way, you could add something like this. So let's say that we use this as a light source there. And by doing that, of course, it cannot be warm, but we could basically just go into develop tool and remove the saturation there. And that way we just get that glow there. If you would want to, you could completely hide it and just look at it kind of before and after. And by doing that, we would just kind of see where the light is coming from. Now, in overall, I have to say that I would probably crop it even tighter. I would probably get rid of most of the area on the top and just really focus on this leading line here. So maybe even something like this, which will just give us that area here. You see how the glow is kind of away now, but we can still see traces, and the focus is mostly on the path here and on the leading line through. If we would want to, we could apply an additional vignette here just to kind of darken this area right here. And that's about it. So this is for this image. Very good there. Now, moving on, let's have a look at the photo. So this is the original. I don't know where the waterfalls are, but obviously lots happening here. The rainbow and the dramatic water, the birds, lots of interesting stuff. So let's have a look at the camera details here as well. Nikon Z7 24-220 millimeters, ISO 640 31 millimeters, f/18 1/200th of a second. So little higher ISO, just a little bit. f/18 definitely higher f-stop. I wonder why did you go for the kind of higher number there. 1/200th of a second give you a very kind of frozen moment. I wonder if there was any way how you could go a little bit slower just to get more smoothness in the water. But then again, maybe the rainbow wouldn't come through. Just a different decisions, different views. But in general, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with the camera settings. The sharpness is decent. Yes, there is a noise in the sky. There is a little bit of sensor dust as well. But we will check what you did with it in the edited photo. So in overall, this all good. So looking at the edited photo. So you have cropped it to this very panoramic view, which I think is very good decision. First, yeah, it gives us much more powerful image, and also it highlights the rainbow in combination with the waterfalls. So definitely well done there. In overall, you took care of most of the sensor dust. Now don't forget that there is the tool in an erase tool where you can just click on it and it basically removes the dust for us. If it still doesn't, then it's good to just kind of zoom in, select and remove these areas. Just like here, also here, for example, like this, you know, and see if that's going to work. Because I don't know if you've done some dodge and burn there, but basically these pieces just kind of appear and reappear. And I think that they are just a little bit distracting. So something like this, zoom in there, just select these areas and with that, that will clean up that part of the image and remove any distraction which would be necessarily there. So this looks all good to me now. Well done. I like the cropping. I like the overall thought of the image. Great capture of this epic landscape. Well, great and well done. Finally, on the third image, we have this lizard here, probably captured with the iPhone, I think. Yeah, iPhone 13. I don't know if it's in a zoo or if you met it somewhere, but yeah, nice kind of depth of field with the softer foreground, focusing on the animal. With the mobile phone, it's not necessarily that interesting to go through the camera details, more kind of visual inspection, looking at the details and sharpness on the animal. That works very well. There is a little bit of soft background, soft foreground. Again, I think that works really well too. So all in all, this is lovely capture. Talking about mobile phone, well done there. Now let's have a look at the edited version. There is not much difference between, to be honest, maybe a little bit of contrast. Definitely, again, panoramic crop, adding more focus on the actual animal. And yeah, it can work. I mean, to be honest, it's a lovely capture, but lots happening in the image. What I would do, I would probably make the background even a little bit darker. So I would do this brightness far, which will create a mask, and basically try to make the background a little darker. Now we can adjust the depth, and basically by doing that, we can make sure that we only selecting the background itself. We can make it even a little bit darker if we want to. Now the foreground, just a little bit maybe. Oh no, we leave it. After that, what we can also do, just kind of following the depth of field, we can go into the blur tool, use the tilt shift here, adjust it, then use the center, position it over the animal, adjust it even further, maybe push it a little bit further, and then adjust the amount. And basically what we're looking for, we're just recreating that depth of field which we have saw earlier. So bring it down a little bit there. Let's have a look. It's a little bit too much, so I think somewhere around here. And by doing that, again, we adding a little bit more attention towards the main subject, because that is the part that is in focus. Other than that, it's all good. Weasley, great images, lovely different sort of captures. The forest looks great. The waterfall, very epic, and the lizard as well. Thank you for sending them over, and I already can't wait to see more of your images next week. And finally, finishing with third photographer today, and that photographer will be Zdeněk. Coming from States all the way to South Africa, where Zdeněk is based, we're going to be looking at two images, this capture of this very interesting tree and this animal here, which I assume is called Nyala, but I hope I'm right. Anyway, with the tree itself, talking about camera details, Canon 77D with the 24-105 lens. From the camera, 24 millimeters on the lens, ISO 100, f11 and 1/40th of a second. Zdeněk, spot on with the camera settings, no problem there. Nice and low ISO, f11, giving you the sharpness through with 1/40th of a second. Everything good, all the exposure. Looking at it again, zooming in, the details are good, no noise, so everything looks good there. Now from the artistic part, it's a very interesting tree, looking at it from my first kind of impression view. Only thing I would suggest here is maybe just having a little bit more space on the edges, specifically here, and maybe also here, you kind of start to be a little bit close to the edge of the image, which sometimes the image, especially when you have this kind of quite major focal point of the tree, it can be a little bit suffocating. So it basically is always good to get a little bit of extra space, at least like this on the side here. In overall, it's a lovely idea. Obviously, the red is really dominant over the whole image, creating beautiful color contrast on top of the blue. That works really well as well. Lovely idea with the clouds that helps with the overall feeling of a texture at the background. What I think also works here very well is that basically all the tones are very natural, very earthy, brown, grays, greens, pastel greens, but in the middle of it, the red really stand out. And when you look at the image, immediately you look at the tree itself. So all of that works very well. It's very interesting subject. This is a lovely subject that could be added into series of photos. So for example, you would be focusing, you would take a picture from far of the tree, then something like this, and then maybe focus just on the branch or part of the red leaves or flowers there. So that would be my idea there. When it comes to post-processing, nothing much I would add here. I think it's very well done. Maybe with the clouds, try to make them a little bit more defined. They just look a little bit transparent for me. But again, other than that, good job, well done, and well put together. Talking about the second image and the animal. So again, from the technical part, Canon 5D Mark IV with 100 to 400 millimeters, 365 millimeters on the lens, ISO 640, f7.1, and 1/1000 of a second. So wildlife, moving animals, certain lifestyle, obviously not lifestyle, light amount. Then the ISO 640, quite reasonable. Low f-stop on the f7.1. With the 365 millimeters, it gives you a really nice depth of field with a kind of softer background, but background you can still recognize. So I think that works nicely too. 1/1000 of a second. Zooming in, you can see lots of details, the fur, the face, all the way around. I really like how everything is in focus on the animal, and then you just get a very natural, soft background. So Zdeněk, well done. Technically, well done there. When it comes to the artistic part, I think the composition is great. Extra space in front of the animal, giving it a little bit of the active space it can move into, generally create more balanced composition. The soft background creates really nice contrast to that sharp animal. The contrast of colors, you have the kind of browny water behind, and then the gray on the animal with the brighter around the foot. Again, that works really well too. The whole depth of field works well here, and the overall composition, yeah, it just works. It's very, very well done. In overall, I think it's nicely done, nicely edited, very natural edit, and I think this picture definitely ready to be printed and put on a wall. And that's pretty much all you want from your photos. So Zdeněk, well done, great capture. Obviously the tree also very interesting. Both of them go very nicely together, and thank you so much for sharing them with us. So of course, Zdeněk, if you have more images, please share them with us for the next week's episode. And as you know, the same goes for all of you folks. If you want to join us, head to our website cleverphotographer.com/forward membership. Find out more about the membership there and join us already next week with your own photos. For today, my name was Jakub Bors, and I can't already wait to see you in the next week.